Hey, how's it going out there today, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great day. I want to talk to you today about brokers and the games they play and how we can combat some of those games and how we can play our own games if you'd like. But here's the thing about it. I'm not going to bash any brokerage specifically today. I'm not in this to just, make you hate brokers. Brokers are a necessary part of trucking. When they do a good job and they do what they're supposed to do, it can work really well. But I think with the latest uptrend in trucking we enjoyed in the end of 2020 and 2021, I think a lot of fly-by-night brokerages have came along, and I think a lot of the steady Eddie guys that have been around forever are kind of changing, maybe not for the best. So just want to talk about those issues and go into a little bit of it, kind of explain to the new guys in the industry what you're going to be dealing with and that type of thing. So let's get right into it. If you could, smash that like button for me while we're here. If you're not a subscriber, think about it. Maybe ring that bell if you are, that way you get notified when I put out the new videos. Thanks everybody for watching and subscribing. And let's talk about some things brokers do. First of all, if you're new to the industry, a freight broker is basically someone that goes out to customers that have freight that need to be moved, and they facilitate a way to move it. Basically, they don't. Some brokerages have trucking companies. You have asset-based brokerages, which are brokerages that do have a carrier also, but a lot of brokers do not. And the way that works is they just go out to the customer, they find the people that's got the freight, and then they figure out how to get it on a truck, whether that be just connections they got, or, load board, emails. They find a way. That is a freight broker's job, to figure out where the freight's at, figure out how to get somebody to move it, and it's kind of how it goes. So, a couple things that I don't like, that pretty much everybody has to deal with in the trucking industry as far as brokers go, is the tracking. I'm going to talk about the tracking for a minute. Now, I'm one of these guys. I've given up on trying to stop the tracking. It's here to stay. Nothing you can do about it. I used to delete the app after every trip and make sure there was nothing left behind. I would clear it all out, as I don't want that guy tracking me. But it's become such a pain that Everload's got it, and I got about 6 different ones on my phone. I got the Navisphere, I got the TQL, I got the who else? I got 4 Kites, Trucker Tools, Macro Point. I just leave them on there at this point. As soon as I'm giving a rate con with one of those on it, I just click on it, set it up, get it going. Now, I know some of you company guys will be required to do tracking. I kind of don't like that. I think when you're a company driver, your personal phone should not be involved in the situation. You know what I mean? Like, I think trucking companies should either get you a tablet in that truck that they can track their load from, or the company should provide you a phone. That is my personal opinion. And I don't know. Maybe if you're cool with it, you're cool with it. But for me, I never downloaded a tracking app when I was running company freight, or which I don't know. Hell, last time I was a company driver, I don't know if they had tracking apps, to be honest with you. And the way I look at it is, if you want to track it, call my company, because typically a company's got a way to track the truck anyway. You got a Qualcomm, you got a PeopleNet, you got something in there that already tracks the truck. You call the company I work for, they'll tell you where I'm at any time of day. But the one that really kills me is the ones that they require tracking and then call you 5 times a day to say, where are you at? Can I get a 10? Because if you run Reefer, this is how to go. What's your location? What's your temperature? I don't know. Let me figure that out for you, considering you've got a tracking app. The first thing I always ask, if they've got a tracking app and they call me, I say, is the tracking app not working? I put a question to them, make them figure it out, because that's kind of my way of saying, hey, next time you call, I may not answer, because this tracking app shows it's updating every 10 minutes of where I'm at. So, I also hate the ones that as soon as you stop the truck, they call you to figure out what you're doing. Well, I appreciate you watching the tracking app, but don't call me to figure out what I'm doing. You've hired a professional to do a job, and I will do it. I promise. So, That has to do with tracking apps. Everybody has to deal with that, basically, whether you're a company, owner, operator, carrier, any of it. The next thing that annoys me about brokers is posting a load in a different city than where it's at. You know, I look at the load board, there's like a load in, and it's the same damn load you watch. It'll be, let's example it here. It'll say Chicago to Columbus, Ohio. Then it'll say Joliet to Columbus, Ohio. Sterling Heights to Columbus, Ohio. You know, and then you call about it, and the damn thing's down in Bloomington. You know what I mean? Have you noticed this? Have you, anybody else experienced this? There's one brokerage in particular. Like I said, I ain't gonna say no names, but everybody out there, they know the one. They know the one. It's also the one that calls you. You know, they have to dispatch you before they'll send you any kind of information, which, you know, it's the way they operate. If you want to do business with them, that's what you got to do. But that posted in different cities, I get what they're doing. You know, they're just trying to get you to call, so you know we can talk about it. But to me, you're kind of wasting my time, honestly, because here's the thing: if I'm in Chicago and the load's down in Bloomington, I might call on it, but you're going to have to give me some money to deadhead all the way down there. So if you post in different cities, be prepared. I'm going to try to get in that wallet. I'm coming for that money. I am. So I believe we're heading to Click and Go. Does anybody else think we're not going to Click and Go? It seems to be all the rage right now. You know, I'm sure these places can cut their staff by, you know, hundreds of, not thousands of people. I do not do the Click and Goes. It just seems to me I make more money when I don't use Click and Goes. I know on paper that Uber looks good a lot of times. You know, I look at Uber, Convoy, I look at it, I'm like, wow, that's a great rate. And then I get there and it's always on some BS level. You know what I mean? I ain't got the right pickup number. I ain't got the whatever. We're wasting time. And then, I don't know. I like them for their detention situation, but as far as like the Click and Go, not having anybody to deal with, you know, everything. When I email them, I know I'm getting responded to by a freaking algorithm, and that, you know, just reading my email, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's got 5 keywords in it. Let's send him all these responses. It's like, it's freaking annoying. So leading into that is leading into detention times. So you guys, detention time is harder and harder to get these days. When rates are up and freight's paying good, more than likely you'll get detention time easier. It's kind of rough on me because I said this year, 2022, my goal was to get more detention time, and not by like milking the clock or not, you know, not in any kind of like unfair way, but I was going to hold these guys to their policy. If the rate con says, you know, 2 hours, I'm calling you at 2 hours and saying, hey, we're in detention time. I'm calling my carrier. I'm calling everybody at 2 hours in. That's been my goal this year, is to get more detention time. It's rough with the freight market going down. I'm up maybe 10% getting the detention I deserve from last year. Because the thing of it is, you can't go after their bond on detention time unless you get a new rate con that says this is what we're going to pay you for detention time. I mean, you can get the shipper to write it on there, or, you know, most time you're just going to have to write it yourself because they're not going to write it. You know, anytime I'm in detention time, I make the calls. I got this habit now of what I've been doing is, you know, like 2 hours after my appointment, I set me a timer, and, you know, when it goes off, I'm calling. And it really hasn't provided, I mean, I'm doing more work and barely getting anything out of it. You guys let me know down in the comments. Are you guys experiencing that on detention, and now that rates have kind of dropped a little bit? I feel like the brokers just ain't gonna pay detention time with rates being down right now. It's tough though, because I deserve that money. You know, I had one load this week. It was 2 free hours at the shipper, 4 free hours at the receiver, and I'm like, come on, who gives up 4 hours of their life for free? And come to find out, this guy does. This guy does right here. This is Mr. Free 4 hours. I don't do much work with that brokerage. It was basically a load that got me somewhere I needed to be. And typically I don't haul freight out of that area. And it was a kind of a new broker to me. I don't know if the company deals with them a lot, but I turned it in because I was there for 6 hours on the back end. And, you know, I was there for 2 hours on the front end, so I really didn't get nothing out of that. But I should be getting like 2 hours out of the back end. But I'm not hopeful about it just because of the way this year has went. There was like, I don't know, there's been maybe a couple loads where they've come back real quick. Hey, they got the detention on the rate con. Here's the new rate con. Good to go. And when I get my check, I see the money. It has been tough this year, to say the least. I don't know. You guys let me know down in the comments how detention's working for you. But it was kind of one of my big pet peeves. I was like, all right, man, I'm going to really step it up. I'm going to start paying attention. I am going all in on detention times. And it really hasn't been a great deal. So let's get to the money side of it. Let's get to the two big things I see going on in freight brokering right now. And that is canceling loads and fishing for rates. So with canceling loads, you know, you can see it just all over YouTube. A lot of YouTubers talking about canceled loads. I've been pretty lucky so far, you know, knock on something in this truck's made out of wood. This piece of paper is made out of wood. Knock on wood. Hopefully it doesn't become a big issue for me. You know, a lot of the freight I'm still pulling is like customer freight, you know, email list freight. So I'm kind of hoping, you know, if I can stick to that, maybe I won't get into this everybody canceling loads on me. I feel like a lot of this, what's going on with canceled loads, and there's another part of this I want to double back to. I will come back to it, but the canceling loads leads right into the second part of my money side of this, and that is fishing for rates. Now, here's what I consider fishing for rates. They put a rate on the load board that's a good rate. You know, let's say you're getting $1.50 coming out of Colorado right now. That's an awesome rate. Everybody's going to be calling about it. Where we're at right now is such a bummer. But anyway, let's talk about that $1.50 out of Colorado for a minute. Let's say they go all out. They put $2.50 a mile coming out of Colorado, going to somewhere decent. You know, I mean, going to Chicago. So you're thinking to yourself, wow, $2.50 out of Colorado, going to Chicago. Let me call on that real quick. So you call on it. They say, hey, you're the first one to call on this. Way to be, you know, refreshing the hell out of that load board or have that live subscription. Anyway, you get yourself a load booked through the broker on the phone, and you wait an hour for a rate con. You never get a rate con. The load's still on the load board. They forgot to take the load board down. Maybe they went to lunch. Maybe they're fishing for a rate. Because an hour goes by, you still ain't got a rate con. 2 hours goes by, you ain't got a rate con. Load's still on the load board. They're still taking calls on that load. Because all they did when they got you on the phone for $2.50 a mile is they locked in, they got a bottom B word. They got a bottom. You know what I mean? Like, we know we got this guy that'll take it to this rate. We're good. Now it's time to see how much money we can keep of this load. And this is going on right now. You know, when volumes go down, brokers know this. They using it. You know what I mean? They're making their money right now. Now, I'm not saying every broker's ripping everybody off. You know, contracts just got renewed and rates just got locked in. And, you know, March was kind of rough at the end, so rates were down. So some of these guys locked in these 3-6 month contracts at the end of March at a cheaper rate. They just, you know, it was market fluctuation. They had to ride the wave. And so not every broker is making, you know, 90% on a load right now. You know, I know it looks good in a thumbnail to say, you know, a broker got me for 90%, but, you know, where's the paperwork? You know, you got to back that up with facts. But I don't think the brokers are killing it like that right now. I think they got their rates cut just because of what it was. Now, I think some of them are getting a little greedy with it, you know, booking some, trying to get freight off. You know, I seen a load off the East Coast out of Pennsylvania going to Commerce, California for $3,400, which is $1.36 a mile. They're asking for team freight, refrigerated team freight off the East Coast, $1.36 a mile. So, I mean, everybody's feeling the effects of this. Even teams are getting it. But this rates, you know, I think now that right there, to me, that's just greed. Because there is no reason that you should be trying to get a team out of Pennsylvania back to California for $1.36 a mile when fuel is over $5 a gallon. I mean, even a good discount program, you're in the mid-4s right now. So, to me, that's when it becomes greed, you know. And they're fishing for rates. What they do is they got you locked in for $2.50, and then I call on a load, and they're like, well, we already got somebody that'll do it for $250, but if you would do it for $2.25 a mile, you know, let's say it's I don't know where it's going, let's just say the overall price is let's say $3,000. Let's say it's $3,000, and you know, they called and said, well, we got somebody locked in at $3,000, but hey, you do it for $2,750, and I'll tear that rate con up. I ain't got it signed yet. It ain't a contract. And I'm like, man, I need a load out of here pretty bad. Personally, I wouldn't do that. If they told me they already had somebody locked in on it, that's a no-go. That is a no-go. But let's say they didn't have a price on that load on the load board, and I called on it, and they've already got you locked in at $3,000. I don't know you're locked in at $3,000. We negotiate. We come up with $2,800. Well, right now they got me at $2,800. The load ain't got to move till tomorrow, you know, yet. So here we go. That guy never going to get a call back. They're never going to take his call, or they're going to tell him the load canceled. And that's what they do. That's why we're getting all these load cancellations right now. The loads aren't actually canceling, in my opinion. They're fishing for rates, and that's exactly what is happening. You know, in that scenario I just said there, they got you locked in for $3,000. I call, I negotiate $2,800. Bam, they got me locked in at $2,800. Hour goes by, I'm like, where the hell's this recon at? I'd like to get this thing signed up and back, you know, back in. That way we got a binding contract. Never comes to me. Never comes to me, because some other guy called in and said, hey, I'd do it for $2,400. Hell, next thing you know, hey, they've saved $600 right there. That's $600 straight to their pocket on a $3,000 load. And it gets worse when freight rates get, you know, we're kind of in a perfect storm right now, because we just went through this great wave. A lot of people jumped in that probably shouldn't have jumped in, didn't quite have the financing to jump in, but they by the skin of their teeth, they made it in, and then now they're in it with all this, you know, with expensive equipment. And you know, it's like I was trying to explain to people when rates weren't that great, you know, this is not normal trucking. Like, you know, you have to run a business in normal trucking times, and a run of bad luck can put you out of business. It ain't even like you did anything wrong. You know, you can just have some 2 or 3 bad luck, you know, things right in a row, and you're done for. You know what I mean? You're filling out applications to be a company driver or whatever. Like, it's tough. It's tough. Trucking, you know, being an owner-operator, being a carrier is a business. And, you know, with the brokers doing what they're doing right now, fuel costs being where they're at, we're in a tough predicament. And you got these guys with this expensive equipment, and they got to run. It's just the way it is. They got to run. There's no option but to try to run your way out of it, and it's a tough situation. Because if you run and you run a bunch of miles up onto that truck, well, now you've got a high mileage, high payment truck. Probably not the best situation to be in right now with part shortages and everything going on. So it's a tough situation we're in. I hope everybody gets through it, but then again, it's business. I don't think everybody will, you know. I had a guy leave a comment yesterday. It was a pretty interesting comment. He said, I wish fuel would go to $8 to $10 a gallon, for the simple fact that it would eliminate a lot of guys that have expensive payments, and it would hurry up and flush the market on a bunch of people. And then I got to thinking, like, I never want higher fuel prices to weed out my competition. You know what I mean? To me, it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. You know, it's going to hurt me just as much as it's going to hurt them. And I don't know. Maybe that's just how I think of that. But another thing right now you got to watch, and you got to stay on these brokers about, is tow new. If you guys don't know, tow new means truck ordered not used. And basically the way you get that is, if you book a load, you got a rate con on it, and the load does cancel, or the broker find somebody that'll do it way cheaper, they need to pay you the tow new if you have moved your truck to the location. Now, most rate cons will have, you know, a specific manner to which tow news are paid. You know, like if you're on the way there, some of them say, you know, hey, if you're not within 50 miles when we cancel it, you're not getting tow new. So be you know, wary of that. Read what you're doing, and if you're owed a tow new, make sure you get it. You know, I mean, if you're at the freaking shipping window and they go, that load was canceled yesterday, the broker didn't call you, didn't tell you, you damn right you need a tow new. I would stay on that one. for sure. But that's just some broker stuff I thought I'd run by everybody. You know, hopefully you find some value in this. If you did, hit that like button for me. I know a lot of you seasoned vets, you know, you probably got some of your own. You want to leave those in the comments, go right ahead. This is basically just an informational video. Wasn't trying to bring down any brokerage, but we know these things are going on out there. You know, it's not a secret. We know some of this stuff's going on. But anyway, guys, that's it for the video. I'm out of here. If you want to click on one of these other videos, continue watching Cash, please do. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, leave a comment, and take care of each other. Remember, people are more important than trucking. Later.